right. Good morning, everyone, and welcome to another episode of How I Met Your Mortgage.
All
Mindy,
right.
I see you're already online. I trust you'll let us know that the audio is okay. Bill, good morning to you. And we'd like to welcome our guest this week. So bear with me because you guys are seeing three of us again, which is a little unique, but I'm Adam Smith with the Core Finance Group and Just the Tips Coaching. With us this week and going forward is our marketing director, Jen Waybauer. Good morning, Jen.
Good morning.
And our guest this week is Dan DeBacco. Dan, good morning. Welcome. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning, Adam. Good morning, Jen. Thanks for having me. Appreciate being here.
No, it's our pleasure. We're excited to have you on this week. So, Dan, as is kind of tradition with our broadcast here, we certainly want to get a little bit of background on you. And I think that that's going to spark some of the questions and discussion items that I want to have with you while we're broadcasting here. Um, but tell us, about your practice, how long you've been in the game, what you were doing before that, where you're at, what firm you're with, those kinds of things. Give us all the skinny on getting to know why Dan is a guest on our show this week.
Sure, absolutely. Well, born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, attended the University of Dayton, graduated in '09, moved out to California, and was in retail management. Actually, I went to California on vacation and never came home.
That's awesome.
And it was, when the economy was still trying to recover a little bit, so there wasn't much action in Ohio for me. So I had some family out that way and applied to some jobs and actually was running coffee shops. I was Pete's Coffee and Tea and Starbucks during my time there. Did some inside sales in San Francisco for a little while, but spent most of my time in the East Bay and Oakland and Walnut Creek, Danville area. And I met my wife out there. Another crazy story is we knew each other 3 months and ran away to Hawaii and told our family through YouTube that we got married.
Through
So,
YouTube.
yeah.
That's fantastic.
So needless to say, we got some phone calls of like, what are you doing and what just happened? But we just celebrated our 7 years and of course just had our first son. So the decision has still been a good choice. But she worked for Coldwell Banker Corporate, and she had an opportunity to move out here to start actually a new program known as the Broker Concierge. So she trains and onboards new agents. Part of like one of the big elements that Coldwell Banker stresses is the training that we provide all of our new agents. So I came out here to find a job and get us a place to live, but figured I've always wanted to start my own business, and real estate felt like the good thing to get myself into. So as of November 15, that's 2015, I got my real estate license and haven't looked back since.
So we're coming up on 4 years. That's a relatively short period to have the success that you have. And we all know that, NAR tells us that 80% of the agents get out of the business after a couple of years. And I suspect, for those of you watching, I suspect that a lot of that is because while the attraction is there, you guys just heard Dan explain why it attracted him, owning your own business, those kinds of things. The real estate schools certainly need to do their thing. They need to generate revenue and want to teach you about the real estate practice so that you're well educated and can pass the exams, those kinds of things. But where there's an enormous gap is obviously in the lead generation type stuff, which is the gap we've always hoped to fill with Just the Tips, our coaching company, and these videos, and our high production weekly video blog, and my book, and on is trying to bridge that gap for a lot of real estate agents. So we know that everybody runs their circle, friends and family. And, once you've done that a couple of years down the road, people don't buy a house every year. People don't sell a home every year. So let's get right into it here, Dan. Tell us, once you'd run that gamut, what kinds of things did you start doing, start exploring, start tinkering with in order to generate leads, retain clients, start building your repeat and referral business.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And, you know, one of the models that Coldwell Banker even shares, and we share together, is clients for life. So even after a transaction is complete, you've gone through everything, they're moved in and whatnot. I don't leave you alone. I am really want to stay involved in your life, want to be in front of you in multiple ways. So kind of my calendar year is very events based, and being in front of folks. I've tried the lead gens, the Zillows, and internet leads and that thing. And it's just not my bread and butter, and cold calling and whatnot. I don't like to be cold called, so it's not something that I'd want to do on my business side. So I'm really the Buffini model of really relationship and referral based. So on a calendar year, in the first quarter, I like to do a movie night where I'll run a movie theater, and in the early part of a Saturday morning when it's inexpensive, and do a premiere movie. So this year we did Avengers Endgame, just because it was one of the big blockbusters of the year. People wanted to see it, and so we got a theater together here in Highlands Ranch, AMC Highlands Ranch, and had a popcorn and a soda for them, and everyone got to enjoy the movie and whatnot. In the summertime, we do Night at the Rockies, and that's a Coldwell Banker benefit where we basically take over the park. We are the largest company that fills the stadium on record for them. And we're going, I think, 11 or 12 years running right now.
That's coming up soon. I think I probably got a dozen invitations to that this past week.
Yeah, I believe it's July 16th. It's Tuesday against the San Francisco Giants. So it's nice because you get your friends and family and your past clients together, and just you can get together for a happy hour prior and then go to the game, and hopefully the weather holds out. We've had a couple of years where a couple of thunderstorms roll through, and we got to put things on hold. So, and then throughout the course of the year, I'm providing anniversary gifts. I do pop buys for everyone's anniversary. Either give them a bottle of wine or a planter, or kind of whatever specific to their personality. And then towards the end of the year, we do either a pumpkin festival or a pie giveaway, where folks just come over, pick up a pumpkin or pick up a pie, and get to hang out and chat a little bit. And then at Christmas time, I provide all my clients with a Christmas wreath, drop them off there. So there's multiple touch points that I'm doing. And then in between all of that, I'm doing coffee and writing handwritten notes. Just, hey, thinking of you. Hope everything's going well. Happy birthday. Sorry about the loss. Or, hey, congratulations on the new baby. So whenever there's a life transition taking place, that's where I want to be in front of them and checking in and saying, hey, how are you? And really, it's more of, hey, I'm here. And if you're looking to buy or sell or know anybody, and just keep me in mind.
So, and this is a subject that we believe strongly in. So, for those of you watching, Dan is not struggling with the what you do piece. And I really do believe that all of you have one job: to make sure everybody you come across knows who you are and what you do. And Dan is not struggling with the what you do. Everybody knows Dan's in real estate. He's getting that point across without equivocation. The who you are, and in this case, Dan's thoughtful and considerate and has genuine concern for his past clients and wants them to have a good time and wants them to have sugary treats and whatever the case may be. All the while the subtext is there: I'm still in real estate, don't forget about me. So I think that that's a big piece of the puzzle, and Dan's running the gamut on making sure that he's covering the who you are. And a really big piece of this that a lot of you are missing, that 80% probably of the real estate community is missing, and this goes for you loan originators and car salespeople and financial planners, insurance agents, etc., is that he's constant and consistent about it. He's doing this stuff every year. He's writing those notes on a regular basis. He's doing coffee every so often as he can. And I'll never judge somebody for how they want to do their lead gen. I will only judge you if you don't do it. So that constant and consistent piece is so crucial for you guys. You've got to pick up something, whether it's giving out pumpkins and pies, or whether it's doing a movie night, or whether it's handwritten thank you notes. And you've got to keep doing it. So, Dan, thank you. I think that we're going to hopefully drive that point home when it's crucial that you guys are doing these activities. And of course, we've talked about Buffini, gosh, I don't know, dozens of times on different episodes of the show. But that the constancy, the consistency of doing those techniques, those tactics has got to be there. I won't mention any names, but you cannot be this particular coaching client of ours who did 4 days of door knocking and then told me it didn't work.
Oh, jeez.
You got to do more than 4 days. You got to do this more than 4 times, guys. The work you're doing now is laying a foundation for the repeat and referral business you're going to have in 2 years and 5 years and 10 years. So whatever you guys are picking up as your techniques, your tactics to help you stay top of mind, to help you generate leads, you got to keep doing it. All right. So, Dan, I want to kind of shift gears a little bit here because I can't stop thinking about your past experience. I spend a lot of time in Starbucks. Who doesn't? Jen, I saw you with your cup there this morning.
Yep.
Shocker. And I really like to use as much technique and tactic from what Starbucks does in my business. And if you guys walk into a Starbucks, and you guys understand Dan used to run some of these operations for them, it's constant. It's consistent. The technology is cool. The experience is synonymous. All these great things that Starbucks does, that Pete's does, on and on, you guys can translate into your business. So, Dan, with that past experience, which I feel is just one of the most fantastic arenas in the sales environment these days, tell us, where do you see your experience paying dividends in your current career?
No, absolutely. So really my job as a manager of these stores was customer experience. So, from start to finish, when they walk in to a Starbucks or a Pete's, how do they feel? What's the ambiance? What's the energy like? Okay, and then perfect. We've decided on what we're going to do. How are we going to build the beverage? And then how are we going to send it off? And how are we going to follow up with the review, or how was your experience? And so that application to any professional setting can be applied, because in this world, we have so many options, so many companies out there that are part of the iBuyer and whatnot. There's so much. And so your value, at least in my opinion, in this business, is how you serve your client from start to finish. And so that starts with really getting to know people personally. I had at least a couple of dozen customers that would come into my store that I knew by name. I knew when their birthday was, what they were up to that weekend, things of that nature. So it's establishing the rapport and establishing the connection. When you're working with me, I mean it when it's clients for life. I don't want this to be a one and done. I want to be a part of your life. Some people don't like that. That's okay. They just want me to help them find a house or sell their house. I get it. But I'd say the majority of my folks appreciate me getting to know them and staying involved with them. And so really, as the transaction progresses, there's checkpoints. There's, hey, how has your experience been? And then the pivotal part that I believe in, and actually part of my outside sale or inside sales that I did, was reputation management. I was selling a reputation software for small businesses to help garner more reviews to output online. So another component that I believe that is getting those reviews and sharing them to the general public, and having that information available, so that when I do possibly get a lead or a referral or something like that, it's not just the referral. There's also something on the internet space that is saying that, hey, I value what I do. I'm going to take care of you. And that's what we did in the coffee world. We had to get customer satisfaction surveys out, and we were rated on our service, our cleanliness, how we carried ourselves, our knowledgeability. And I feel like that is what is a huge benefit, and that I've taken into my own business here.
It's brilliant. Jen, are you listening?
I am listening.
Dan, Jen and I have been talking about this review process, and we've exercised it for a long time in a pretty solid manner, although we want to tweak it to get more traction out of it. We haven't been public about sharing that kind of information, those activities, although we'll certainly discuss it. So thank you for that insight. But I do want to backtrack a little bit because there are a couple of really interesting things that you mentioned in there. And one of them really funny. I'm actually using my Pete's cup this morning. So the customer experience, even on something with as negligible a price point and as voluminous as a Starbucks, you knew your regulars.
Yep.
There
100%.
was a relationship there. You might even have their drink ready for them. Who knows?
Yep.
It's like Norm walking into the bar at Cheers. Norm, and everybody knows who he is, and Woody's got his beer ready for him at right in front of his regular stool, etc. So translating that kind of activity into your real estate business is something all of you, well, and not just real estate, but mortgages and financial planning, insurance, everything is something that you guys really should be doing. That kind of personalization really forms a bond. And I don't think there's any secret to the effect that the logical steps in this process for all of you, no matter what you're selling, is to make contacts. We obviously talk about your contact database being, key number one. To build relationships, further those relationships. Those relationships eventually turn into clients. And for you guys in real estate, mortgages, well, actually all of these things, this is a very personal relationship. Dan's dealing with people while they're looking at a home and they're picturing their kids playing in the backyard or running up and down the block on Halloween trick-or-treating. If you're in the mortgage world, you know whether or not these people went to Taco Bell this month and how many times, or Starbucks for that matter. And you know what they're spending. I mean, these are very personal relationships. So if we're following those points, contacts, building relationships, converting to clients, so on and so forth, then Dan's model works. These people are clients for life. No question about it. So thank you, Dan. I really did want to kind of bridge that gap between how does somebody with experience in the coffee house game really parlay that into real estate. And I've always thought that there was a really solid meld there for the people that really worked hard and paid attention to what they were doing in the coffee house game, because I think there's so many things that Starbucks is doing, that Pete's is doing, that could be translated smartly into the real estate business.
100%. And on that note too, I firmly believe that everybody, even like when raising children, they need to be in at least a customer service role for a year or two, just to get that sense of, a quick transaction or how to create an environment, because applications in an office setting, in a business, wherever it may be, will be applicable no matter what.
Yeah, I think that that's true. All right, so tell us what you think you're going to lay out for the remainder of this year, 2020. Are you going to add any new ideas, techniques, tactics? Give us the skinny on what the next couple of few years looks like for Dan.
Sure, no, absolutely. So I actually just implemented what's called a Debaco Real Estate monthly appreciation raffle, and just another way to, stay in front of my folks. So, for example, on the third Thursday of every month, I send out a quick email that says, hey, I am raffling off tickets to a concert. Or this, for example, this month, it's 2 tickets to ziplining at Adventure Park in Idaho Springs.
Sure.
And so all folks have to do is say, I'm in. And then the following week, I get folks to respond. I'll follow back up and then do a quick raffle and say, hey, here's the winner, but I'll do a short announcement of, hey, here's what's going on in the market, or here's what we have coming up in the next couple of months. And then I draw the winner, and then it's just another touch point. But I only reach out to those folks that said they're in, so I don't bombard folks. I really do believe in items of value, and I've actually had monumental success with the boomerang coupons. I believe actually your last guest, Stephanie, was referring to that. And, really at the end of the day, folks may not be interested in real estate, but they are interested in having something of value to them, whether it's going to a park that's discounted or buy one, get one, or, things of that nature. And so in doing that, it's still the continuation of checking in with folks, giving them a call, saying hello, and sticking to the basics. I get calls every day from bright, shiny new things that we could, be doing. And hey, you're going to get this many buyers, this many sellers, this many leads. If you're the steady Eddie, to your point, Adam, it's really what's going to pay off down the road.
I would agree with that. And there's something on that subject that I want to touch on, but because it's rare that we take an opportunity to share one of our own internal tactics, etc., just so you guys are aware, we're doing something fairly similar, although it melds with the previous subject. We do a quarterly drawing, typically tickets to a sporting event. And our company has season tickets to a number of the local teams: Broncos, Rockies, Nuggets, Avs, a few others. And for every one of our past clients that writes us a review, we don't care where it is, Google, Facebook, Yelp, Yelp. That one's definitely at the bottom of our list next door. LinkedIn, the Better Business Bureau, whatever the case may be. For every one of our clients that does that, we enter them into a quarterly drawing for those tickets. But we are peppering people with a request for those reviews a couple of times a year. And we probably see at the peak, 40, 50 people will write reviews for us each quarter. So it's a good number and a good way to generate a number of things: top of mind, client appreciation, those reviews. So it's a great tactic. We've been doing it via email. Jen convinced me this past week to start doing it via text, so we'll see how that goes. No question. But I really think that where I want to make everybody aware of something that's much bigger than any specific technique or tactic that Dan touched on is that you guys are being thrown so many shiny objects. There is so much noise in the background when it comes to buying leads and mailers, and we'll do this for you, and we'll get you these buyers, and you're going to have these sellers, and we're going to do postcards. Whatever the case may be, you guys are bombarded with that kind of activity from these third-party companies that are providing potentially good sources of ways to generate more leads, but you guys have got to learn to tune that stuff out. It is too easy to get distracted, to switch gears, to not be able to maintain that constancy and that consistency on the tactics that you are either adopting or have adopted and used for a good period of time. So we typically find that something like quarterly client appreciation type stuff is a great idea, a great tactic to adopt, to implement, to shape into your own, to systemize and automate as much as you can, then go find another. Then follow those same steps, then maybe a third. But if you guys are really kicking ass with the stuff that you're adopting and implementing, you're never going to need more than 3 big techniques or tactics to generate the kind of business that you want. And you're probably being thrown 3 ideas a day of potential things you could be doing. So really pay close attention to tuning out that noise, because it is easy to get distracted from the things you're already doing, or that one thing that you really should adopt, implement, make malleable, suit your own needs, systemize, automate before you move on to the next shiny object. So thank you, Dan. That's really an important point, and I don't think we ever discuss it enough.
For sure. Absolutely.
All right. So, and Dan, because, and we did discuss this, but because we do get some consumer viewership in our weekly show here, although do bear in mind, guys, this is really stuff where Jen and I are bringing in another lead generation type of expert specific to your industry so that you guys can get some ideas about what might work for you. And again, just because it works for someone doesn't mean it will work for you. I have agents that kick ass at door knocking, and I know agents that would rather die than do it. I have agents that kick ass at picking up the phone and calling expireds or FSBOs. And I have agents that would rather eat a bullet, then pick up the phone and do that. Okay. But because we do have some consumer audience, Dan, tell us about your practice. We know how great you are with client follow up, client appreciation. Tell us who you want to work with, what's your ideal market, and most importantly, how these people can reach out to you. What's the best methodology?
For sure, for sure. So, really like to stress that I am very communal based. So it's not even just real estate that I'm involved in. I actually run a nonprofit. I'm involved in my University of Dayton alumni chapter community leader. I'm involved as a HRCA, the Highlands Ranch Community Association delegation. So I am very much
Are you the guy sending me the letters about my weeds?
Not me. Don't.
Okay.
You can reach out to the home office there.
All right.
I'm just there to advocate for you.
Even better. Does that mean
Yep.
you're going to come pull my weeds?
Ooh, I don't know. I know a guy. If you
I know a
need
guy.
to help.
Okay.
I know a guy. But yeah, so my real philosophy is living and breathing the golden rule. So really, the experience that you're going to get is how I would treat my own mother or my best friend. So really living and breathing that element of service and relationship aspect. And the best way to really get a hold of me is just via my cell phone or email. So 720-955-6111 would be a great way to get a hold of me. Or Dan.DeBacco, D as in dog, E as in echo, B as in boy, ACCO at coloradohomes.com. And one thing I like to highlight is I actually donate $500 of my commission to a charity of your choosing, just a way to give back to the community and make you feel as though you're contributing to something of value to you. For example, I had a client that was adopted, and he was part of the Dave Thomas Foundation. So when he found out that I was donating $500, that's the first place that came to mind. And so it just made it more of a wholehearted, feeling at the end of the transaction.
That is awesome. We do it a little differently in our office. We notify every past client that they can choose the charity that we donate to on Colorado Gives Day. And some years it's 100 past clients asking us to donate to the charity of their choice. So we make a donation in their name. And to the charity of their choice in their name. And fortunately for us, the logistics of it narrow it down to just that one day, so it's a little easier for us. And Dan, I know you've got some good social media work going on. What's the best platform for people to follow you on?
That would definitely be either my personal Facebook page. You can ask me as a friend. I am very open-minded. I don't protect my personal life. I'm pretty much an open book. In fact, most people know stuff before my wife does. So you're going to find out what I'm up to. So just like me on Facebook, or you can check out my business page at Bus Todd DeBacco, as I do work with Ron Bus and Susan Todd are my mutual business partners.
Very cool. And for those of you that are watching, Dan's personal Facebook feed is Dan.DeBacco. So that's a really great avenue to connect with him. So, Dan, I can't believe how quickly the time flies by, but this has been fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today.
My pleasure, guys. Thanks for the opportunity.
You bet. And for those of you watching, well, Jen, I'm sorry I did it just like I did in the past. Do you have anything that we should contribute on your end? I'm so sorry.
I don't think so. Thank you, though.
And actually, for those of you watching, if you use our text code at the bottom of the screen, you'll actually get a lot more of Jen than you will of me. But if you want to talk about lead generation tactics, techniques, if you want to be a guest on the show, if you want a copy of my book, Just the Tips, if you want to talk about Just the Tips coaching, whatever the case may be, that text code at the bottom of your screen, text CORE to 63566 is an amazing way to get that information. So Dan, thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. We're going to sign off. And Jen, thank you for joining us this morning as well.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys.